Well, I'm here with Courtney, no last names, of course, and I guess I'll start out with what do you do on a day-to-day basis? What's your schedule?
Well, I work as a med tech at a long-term care facility in a unit for people with dementia or traumatic brain injuries. I've been doing that sort of work for like 16 years. I do that 2 to 3 days a week. I used to do it full time, but now I work full time at a Pete's Place like 6 days a week. So,
So what do you do at the medical place?
I pass out pills.
That's all you do is just pass out pills?
Yeah, I used to do a lot of CNA work
Uh-huh.
and actually, patient care. I still do a little bit of that, like if I have the time, but my main focus is making sure everyone gets their meds. So,
How is it like interacting with older people every day?
I actually find it really comfortable, and the fact, like, this is, I'm not sure if anyone else feels this way in the world, but since they have dementia and also or a traumatic brain injury, like I don't feel as shy because if I mess up in a conversation, 10 minutes later, they have no idea that conversation
That's
happened.
true. That's true.
I also think that there's so much that can be learned from people. Like one of my best friends, I technically take care of her, but she does everything herself. She's like 97. She was a World War II veteran. Like it's so interesting to like hear their stories. And since the short-term memory is usually what goes with dementia, you can get all those stories by
Yeah.
just talking and listening, you know?
What's some stories you've heard from her that you can think of on the top of your head?
Well, actually, since it's a HIPAA violation, I really can't say any more
that's
about
right.
her, or
Okay,
else it
that's
might
fine.
reveal who she is. But I can tell you this. I watch a lot of old movies and stuff, and I ask if certain things are accurate, and some of them yes, some of them no.
I've heard that Saving Private Ryan, that very beginning scene with the on D-Day is very accurate.
Is it?
Uh-huh. With you being around our older people, what advice what advice would you take mostly from seeing the way that they lived their lives and how they are in their current state as an older person? What do you take home with that?
I would think probably like the strongest message I've gotten is that when you die,
Mm-hmm.
because I watched a lot of people die.
Mm-hmm.
When you die, it doesn't matter how much money you have, and you're not going to, remorse about the time you were stupid and did something random. Like, you're going to think about the people you love and what makes you happy, because pretty much none of us are going to, you can't leave with anything.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Only yourself.
yeah. And I think that's basically what they've really taught me.
So, I guess then let's go to that. So, there's the three questions, the podcast questions, okay?
Okay.
Is why is there birth?
Mm-hmm.
How come it leads to death?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the stuff in between?
Why is there birth? Probably because people get bored and like get together. I don't know. Why is there birth? Because and I firmly believe in this concept, but not like on a spiritual level. But energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only change form.
Mm-hmm.
So birth is inevitable.
That's true.
Death, also inevitable. And the stuff in between, I think it's a lot of hopefully learning, but probably more learning from mistakes and just like the pursuit of happiness.
Pursuit of happiness.
I think that is the stuff in between. I don't think there's anyone out there like purposely trying to be miserable. I guess there's some masochistic freaks out there, but
It's true.
But
even
the pain
then,
makes them happy.
Yeah, even
so,
then, that's what makes them happy.
Yeah. But I would believe the pursuit of happiness.
Pursuit of happiness. What is your pursuit of happiness?
Not in like a corny sort of way, but I like to help people.
Help
It's what I
people.
do. Philanthropy's the name of the game. Like it used to annoy my husband so much. I've taken in so many homeless people
Uh-huh.
over the years, and like did like a pretty woman on them, like got them all
Pretty
like
woman.
got them some new clothes
Uh-huh.
and found them a job or whatever, and in between just like hung out with them or whatever. And yeah, like when I for a while I stopped working because my mental health like got
Mhm.
to a point where it wasn't feasible, and I stopped working, and that was fine for a while. But then I started volunteering at the senior center. And so my husband was just like, so you're doing what you used to do for money for free. That is insane.
That's so funny. And this is your husband right here, right?
No.
No? Okay. That's fine with me. So taking in homeless people all the time, what have you learned from that experience? The homeless people, like the homeless life. That's a very brave way to live life, but it's also not a way that people. It's not a life that people often choose. They're sort of
Um,
put into.
yes and no.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, I've been homeless before. And it wasn't because I didn't have a full-time job. I did. It was just because I couldn't afford the housing market.
Mhm.
So there's some people like that have just, from some sort of circumstance, ended up homeless. But then there are the people that, over the years, chiseled away at like their character and their well-being and ended up homeless.
Mhm.
And I don't discriminate between the two. One guy, he was kind of elderly. I took him in, like the only way that they'd let him out of prison is if he had a place to go.
Mhm.
So I took him in, and he's one of my best friends.
To this day.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yesterday, Shane here
Mhm.
took him like his beer and cigarettes or whatever. Like, no, yeah, and I still take him out. He got in trouble though a little bit ago because I let him bring back some whiskey to the because now he's in an assisted living.
Mm.
But yeah, he got in trouble.
How old is he?
He's gosh, I always forget. He's in his late 60s.
Is he still? Oh, he's in assisted living. That's right. When
But-
were you homeless?
I like moved around a lot
Oh.
because I left home when I was 16. So like when I didn't have like a couch to crash on or whatever, I would just stay in the Walmart parking lot.
Dope. Like.
Yeah,
Where would you
just in my
sleep?
car.
Just in your car.
Yeah. No, because I had a full-time job, and like I had a gym membership, so I could shower and keep clean. But yeah, I just couldn't afford housing. I couldn't afford that first, last, and deposit.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to like try to get some financial assistance, they told me I made too much money. And I was like, I'm sleeping in the back of a Volkswagen
Right.
Beetle. How are you telling me I'm making too much money?
Where's your favorite place you were quote unquote homeless at? Because you said you traveled around. Where have you been?
A lot of like I just like this is kind of like my home territory, but
Okay.
I think my favorite was when I was living in a van in an alley. Like a friend of mine had a van,
Mm-hmm.
and she it was like big enough that I could put a twin bed in the back, and I put an extension cord to her house, and so I had like a TV in there, just hanging out,
That's
like
pretty cool.
living in my van.
Where is that at?
Not by the river.
Not by the river. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, you mentioned you had mental health
Uh-huh.
problems. What does that stem from?
Actually, they haven't really been able to give me a full diagnosis or a third diagnosis or find the root of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in therapy for, I don't know, 17 years or something. And I have been diagnosed with an eating disorder, depression, severe anxiety disorder, and now they're sending me to an endocrinologist because they think there's something wrong with my hormone levels, and yeah,
Cool.
a lot of fun stuff.
A lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
No schizophrenia?
Not
Maybe
yet.
a little dabble?
Not yet.
Haven't dabbled in that one yet? What was your childhood like? And like I said, like, I don't want you to feel like you have to share your deepest,
no.
darkest, but I would appreciate it if
No,
you did.
I'm not worried at all. So I was born in Baltimore, Maryland, and my mother had a lot of issues herself, and she already had 2 kids, and she decided when I was born that having kids was not something she was into at the moment. So she sent us on a plane up here to live with people that, because she was in the foster system when she was a kid, to live with a couple that she had lived with previously in California, like just out of the blue. So yeah, I ended up in Idaho in the 90s, which wasn't really a cool time to be black in Idaho.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it was kind of not very nurturing. Like it was like they were great people and they paid all my expenses, but it wasn't like a family sort of like, you know, love, hugs, and kisses. It was just, I don't know, a place to lay your head or whatever, financial support, like, you know, 3 hot and a cot type deal. Like, it was a huge house. And so if you didn't want to see somebody, or if you were like angry at somebody, I mean, you could avoid them all day. I mean, there's, yeah,
How
tons
many people
of space.
did you live with there?
So myself, my half sister, and my half brother, and then we just always called them our grandparents because it was easier to explain to people. But that couple that was, you know, they were old enough to be grandparents. So yeah.
When's the last time you talked to your mom?
Actually, last fall I had to take her off life support. So
Ooh, that's really sad.
I did not speak to her at that time.
Oh.
So the last time I talked to her was when I told her that I was fed up and I didn't want her to come up here and live with me because she was planning on that.
So do you regret the relationship you had with your mother and the last words you said with her, or do you believe that was somewhat of a karma-induced situation?
No, I feel super guilty. Like like the entire time I was sitting bedside because they had to have the majority of her, because she didn't have a beneficiary, so they had to have a majority of her children sign off on taking her off life support. And I sat there bedside like while she was in a coma, and all I could think was, would she be in a coma if I had let her come up here? Because it was because she had an aneurysm from doing drugs. So if I had brought her up here, where, I mean, can't find good coke to save your life. So would she be alive? And the last words I said to her were in anger and a rejection of her. And yeah, I feel really guilty. I feel responsible in some way about her demise. Yeah.
How come?
Because she finally, because she would always say over the years, oh yeah, I'm going to come up this summer. I'm going to come up this summer. And she never did. I hadn't seen her since like 1996. And she finally actually had concrete plans because she was in like witness protection or whatever. So they wanted to get her out of the state of Maryland. And I talked to the state attorney or whatever, and I had agreed for her to come and live with me while she got settled in a new environment. And I don't even remember what the argument was over, but for some reason I was mad, and I just said, like, you're not welcome up here, like, go away. Like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And then she died.
What about your dad?
He died before I was born.
Okay. Do you know anything about him at all?
Yeah. Because I met his family. Like, he was a really great guy. Like, nobody has a bad word to say about him. On his deathbed, he had 3 women there. My mother, his first kid's mother, and then his current girlfriend. So he was hot stuff, I guess.
What did your dad do? Like, was he a police officer, gangster?
Gangster.
Where
Yeah. In Baltimore.
Baltimore?
Yeah.
What was his gangster name?
He didn't have a gangster name because I guess he was really kind of like a family man, but he did have a nickname. Like everyone called him Bat because he like Batman or whatever. Yeah, like so.
What's your
yeah.
I have trouble saying words. Ethnicity?
Oh, both my parents are black.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't really look like super black, like not
right. Well, see, that's one of the things that I get a lot. But if you look at yourself and then you look at a redhead, are you a different shade? Yeah, you are. So there's different shades of blackness, and also I don't live in an area where it's overly sunny, and I don't do anything, outside. Because when I was a kid, I was a couple shades darker because I used to play outside. So, yeah, but I'm black.
What do you what do you think on the current political climate overall? What would you say as a black person in Idaho?
We were actually talking about this on the way up here. Like that I really distanced myself from the whole Black Lives Matter thing because like I just don't want to go there, people feel so strongly one way or another. And I always believe with people that have such strong convictions and passionate convictions, nothing I say is going to change their mind. So don't even start the fight. Like, don't. Like, just, bleh. So I didn't have, and I feel like that, speaking frankly, I feel like the atrocities against minorities have been happening for, ever in a long time. So the fact now that people are speaking about it, it's like, well, where were you for the last, century or two? Like, I mean, it feels now, like some of the efforts are being cheapened because they're being labeled as part of a movement. They're not individual, like now it's all clumped together. So I feel in the pursuit of equality and fair justice, people might actually be pushing it the other way because now the people that were maybe didn't feel one way or another are being swayed to, not pick a side per se, but they're being, So I don't know. I think it's a double-edged sword.
A double-edged sword. I like it. Do you think people are being persuaded because of the media's pretty controlling puppeteering on the information we receive?
100%. Like if you take any story, you watch 4 different news channels, it's going to be slightly different, but if you listen carefully, it's totally different. Like, I mean, if you are a Republican or a Democrat, you like different things. So you're going to listen to and watch and read something that aligns with your values. So, yeah, I totally think that the media has a strong part to play, especially now where it's so immediately available, on everybody's phone. You can just look up whatever you want in whatever context you want it to be in, and it will be there for you. So, yeah.
Can I ask you a deep question?
Yeah, of course.
Have you ever tried to commit suicide, and how come?
I've never really tried to commit suicide. I always tell the doctor, if I was going to commit suicide, I'd be dead already. Because, yeah, I don't play.
Yeah, I don't play.
But, and people take this the wrong way. They think that I was doing that.
Is that a semicolon on your wrist for the audience?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, no, it's an ellipsis.
Oh, okay.
But no, people take this the wrong way and think that I was trying to off myself. No, I've never, self-harmed in a way to actually kill myself, or I would not be here.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is such a huge problem in today's society?
Suicide?
Yeah.
And suicidal ideation? Well, I think that you're kind of set up to fail in life.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't get good grades, and I had good grades, but what kid is really like super, like, you don't understand when you're young how much school is going to affect the rest of your life. You're just like, whatever, I'll go to college if I want, and even if you do go to college, I have friends that went to college and have like, bachelor's or master's or whatever. I think I even have one with a PhD, and that doesn't guarantee a job. That doesn't guarantee happiness. Like, so I think that a lot of people, they have a view of the future, of what they want their future to be. Like, we all have, dreams and ambitions and whatnot. And when you fail to be what you thought you could, like, it's soul crushing. Like, it's like because you had this world and this life already like set up for you that you thought was gonna happen, and when you fail to meet your own expectations, that's difficult.
That is difficult. Did you fail to meet your expectations in
Yes,
life?
I did.
What did you want to be when you were a kid?
A writer.
A writer?
Yeah, I was going to get my doctorate, just because. And I was going to be a writer, and I was going to live in a small little apartment in either London or Paris. And I was going to write.
How come that didn't happen?
Well, when I was in my junior year, I met a man. Every bad story turns out that way. Like, yeah. I met this guy. Ironically, back then, because I just started at the pizza joint, but back then, that was my first job. I used to work at the pizza joint, and I started dating a guy from there, and he was a stoner. Like, he didn't really, school was like, whatever. And I was in all honors classes, so I'd never missed a day of school in my life until I was 16. Like, school was like my life. And one day he woke up like stoned and hungover and didn't want to go to school, and I stayed with him. So they gave me a choice that I could either start the year over without honors credits, or I could drop out. And in my teenage mind, I was like, well, there's no point in continuing school if I don't graduate with honors.
That's interesting. Did you become like him for a while?
Not exactly. Look, I would say yes, but not in the way one might think. Like, I've never liked marijuana, but I did start, partying a little too hard and, like, not making the best choices in life. So, yeah. I guess somehow I did come to his level. Not saying it's above mine or below mine, but I did end up on the same wavelength.
Well, you are still pretty young. How old are you?
I'm 30.
You're 30, dude.
I'll be 31 next month.
Yeah, you're still young. You can totally still...
How old are you?
I'm only 20.
Oh, God, I feel old.
What? 30? Like, you... Well, it makes you feel better. You don't look like you're 30 either.
Well, thanks. But, that is a nice consolation prize.
I'm just saying that there's still plenty of time, Yeah. I think that is something that a lot of people struggle with, is feeling like they missed the mark, I had to do, like, it's the rat race. It's here's a quote that I've heard that's very true. It's that life is not a race, right? If life was a race, the best music composers would only play one note. It'd be the end note. Life's a dance where we choose our music, choose our partner, choose our dance moves, but we go to which flow we want to choose. We don't have to end at this point, at this certain time, at the point of the song. It's whenever we decide to stop the dance. And I think that's how I like to live my life and view it. I feel like if a lot of people viewed life that way, instead of the race, like, oh, I have to go to college, instead of figuring out yourself, right? Or I have to be married, instead of looking introspective and being like, well, this is what I want to do. I think we would have a lot less mental health problems, because a lot of people, I feel like, suppress those mental health problems they have, or those expectations they have, and then 10 years later go by and they never really deal with it.
Right.
It just kind of implodes on them once that anchor they've had in their life goes away, whether that's the job, college, a person. Once that's gone, they're left with themselves, and they've never really thought about themselves and what they can do and what they want to do. Only what this set rules and expectations that have been put on them by whatever that force is wanted them to do.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, definitely. Like, I completely identify with that feeling of being like lost in the void. Like, I mean, you're not where you thought you should be. You're not where society tells you need to be. Like, you're just you. And at the end of the day, you have to look at that.
So with that, what do you think what would you say your philosophy is? Well, I guess that's that was a dumb way of saying it.
Well, I'll give you two answers. Okay, first answer is life is tough, but the tough learn to live with it. And my second answer is...
I like that a lot.
I made that up when I was young and started getting depressed.
You made that up?
Yeah.
I like that.
But my second answer is that you just need to believe in the good in people and find the good in yourself.
I like that. Do you think karma exists? And do you think like we have a set path in life, whether that's what we expect, but we have a certain path because of karma or because of other forces?
No, I don't. I believe that the decisions we make dictate our path in life, and if you're consistently making similar decisions, then yeah, you could probably guess where someone's going to end up.
That's true.
But as far as there being like some predetermined, like, chapter book of our lives, no, I don't think that's true.
I would only argue it in the sense that I think everyone has a set path, because for you, example, and I'm not you, I can't feel what you feel, but wanting to be a writer when you're a kid versus who you are now, where you just, as you said, like you truly love just helping people, you wouldn't be able to do that as a writer. You'd be so selfish in the sense of you're closed off in the little bungalow in London by yourself. You wouldn't be helping anyone besides yourself. But since you were not able to achieve that path and you went down a different path of helping people, that's where you realized like that's what you love the most. Would you agree or disagree?
I think you're really right. A while back, I lost the ability to write, like physically.
Oh, really?
Because I was pretty ill for a while, and like now I do have the ability to write again, and I have nothing to write. Oddly enough, the last thing I thought of writing was a book called it was loosely titled at the time, like I'm Glad I Asked, where I talked to old people and like just hear their story.
Yeah.
And I was going to make that into a book because there's so much I have learned from the elderly. Like, so I don't think that writing's totally off the table, but it kind of is.
Fair enough. How come you weren't able to write?
So last year I, you can see what I look like now. I was 40 pounds lighter than that.
I remember when we used to hang out, right, at her house. You were totally super skinny. Yeah.
So and I was going through like a fifth of Jameson a day. Oof. Like I wasn't eating anything. I was just drinking, and like that. So that's like $900 a month in just Jameson. But that's not to say I wasn't drinking other substances. So I just got really sick, and then the whole thing with my mom happened, and so I just took a nosedive, and then I started seeing a doctor who we shall not name, but he had me on so many different meds, and he kept changing them every month, or not every month, every 2 weeks, because I had to see him every 2 weeks, and I just got so ill.
Do you take meds now?
Yeah.
Do you think meds have helped you, or what is your opinion on medication?
I think a lot of times the side effects are worse than the malady itself. So, but obviously, I know that there's a time and a place and a purpose for meds, or else I, wouldn't be passing out meds to old people because I love old people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that sometimes they are necessary. I mean, for continuing a happy life.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, recently I started like pocketing my meds and like hiding them. So now my boyfriend has to like actually give them to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I'm convinced one of them is making me fat. So.
So I will totally take out anything you want me to when we're done with this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll ask this, and you can tell me if you want to take it out or not. So do you have a boyfriend and a husband, and do they know about each other? Or
Correct. They're meeting on Monday to go over some of my like documents or whatnot.
Are you getting divorced?
I'm separated.
Separated. Okay. Like I said, you can totally tell me to take anything out.
No, everyone knows.
Okay.
It's fine.
How come? How come you're getting separated?
Because we'd been married 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just reach a point where it's like, because we're still really good friends and I talk to him daily, but you reach a point where it's just like, this about you I don't like, this about you I don't like, and that's not going to change. Let's just go our separate ways. I love you in every other way, but these are two things that, like,
That's how my parents were.
Mm-hmm. They
just realized one day that they didn't love each other that way, but they were still such good friends that they were just like, let's just be friends. Like, we're just not romantically meant for each other.
I still tell my husband I love him every time I talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
And my boyfriend knows that, and he's fine with it. Like, my husband still lets me, because we're out of town, and when we have to come to town and he's busy doing whatever, my boyfriend, I stay at my husband's house. He's totally fine with it. So
to go back on something
mm-hmm.
is, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to go deep on you, but I'm just so curious.
Oh, it's fine.
You said that you were sick and you take all this medication and depressed.
Uh-huh.
How come you had but you said you've never like tried to kill yourself? Like, why? What has been like the shining light?
The catalyst?
Of hope? The catalyst of hope.
Well, it started out with my anxiety was getting so bad that I was like shaking, like I would tremor and
mm-hmm.
like just start sweating profusely, and I started to, it's horrible, isn't it?
It is not a very good experience,
right? And so that was happening at work,
uh-huh.
and so I needed that not to be happening, and then I got so depressed, and one of the side effects of having an eating disorder, like, is an increased level of depression and stuff. So, I mean, that was in play. And then I started to have, like, heart problems. And it just, like, kept progressing. And so they just kept throwing more meds at it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, it wasn't because, like, yes, there's been times in my life where I maybe entertained the idea of...
pondered it.
Yeah, of, like, maybe I'd be better off if I wasn't here.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never, like, acted on it or, like, done anything.
Made the plan.
No, yeah, I've never gotten to that stage.
Uh-huh. So what has shaped you as a person? What's some of the events in your life that has made you who you are today?
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously my mother shipping
mm-hmm.
me across the country, and that feeling of rejection. Probably my grandfather backhanding me in the face and rinsing my mouth out in the sink with green apple dish soap because I had said fuck you
mm-hmm.
to his wife. And he's a 6'6" guy, and I was 13 years old, so you can imagine the blood and the unhappiness. Mm-hmm. So that, and the fact that in that instance I was arrested and I was court-ordered for mandatory therapy and charged with verbal assault. and he had to take a parenting class. So that, yes, that did shape me.
Why did you say fuck you?
Because my brother, who had shot himself in the head with an air compressed nail gun, was saying that, like, he was fine afterwards, but he was saying that he, talking to my grandmother, saying that he thought that they should have more rules because they kind of just were just like, you guys are intelligent people, live your life. And he was saying that he wanted more rules and structure, and I disagreed, and she had said something to the contrary of what I was trying to get at, so I just, like, out of anger, just turned and said, well, fuck you. So, I mean, yeah.
What's some other events?
Probably that relationship with the guy in high school, because that was the first, like, love of my life. And just the emotional turmoil of being a teenager in love, I think really really changed the way, like, I thought about myself and relationships in general. And then I think one of the big things was I didn't want to be in healthcare. It was an accident. So I think that too.
How was it an accident?
Well, I was living at this house that was like a flop house. Like, there was probably no less than like 20 people staying there on the regular. Like, it was just a party house. And my friend there, because I had left my job at the pizza place, and I was like, well, I need a job. And she's just like, oh, my sister once, worked as a dietary aide at a nursing home, and it pays pretty well. So we applied at a nursing home, and when I went into the interview, they're just like, okay, well, the CNA class starts this day. And I was like, what the hell's a CNA? Like, I'm here for a dietary aide. And they're just like, oh, don't worry, it pays more. So it was a total fluke. Like, it wasn't something I was set out to do.
What do you like to do on your free time?
Well, right now I don't really have free time.
Yeah,
but,
a little bit of a workaholic, huh?
Yeah. Actually, most of my free time is spent sleeping. A lot of the meds, like, make me really lethargic. And then I just like to, I mean, it sounds so lame, but I like to just freaking lay in bed, watch TV, and just chill.
There's nothing wrong with that. You got any ghost stories or alien stories?
I don't believe in either.
Why not? Let's start off with ghosts. Or no, let's start with aliens. Why don't you believe in aliens?
Because I've never seen one.
You never seen one? That's true. I feel like the concept in aliens is romantic, but very, very unrealistic.
Well, I believe that, like, I mean, I'm not, like, so pro-human that I don't believe that there could be life forces on other planets, but in the in media you always see them like portrayed as somewhat humanoids, like, and I don't believe that if there's life somewhere else that they're going to be, green stick figure men.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be something so, like,
far removed.
We could just not even humanly process it. And I've also thought about it'd be so funny if we found other life and it would be just like us.
That would be horrible.
That'd be so, like, anticlimactic, right?
Right?
Just like apes, humans, whatever.
I think that's a Nicolas Cage movie.
Really?
They're probably shooting it next week.
Oh my god, that's so funny. So what about ghosts? No ghost stories?
No, I've watched too many people die
to
believe in ghosts, because some people, especially in the medical field, like, a lot of people believe, like, people die in threes, or, that there's old people, like, haunting a nursing place. And I was like, dude, this place has been open for like 50 years. If there was a ghost haunting it, wouldn't there be, like, several ghosts? Like, you couldn't move for ghosts? Like, I mean, let's be real. Like, if you watch the life go out of somebody's eyes, you just watch them just go. Like, it's hard to believe that there's ghosts.
What is it like to be holding the hand of somebody that dies, being right there with them as their final seconds tick?
I feel honored.
Honored?
Yes, that I could bring them even the smallest shred of comfort. in their last moments, because I mean, it sucks, but a lot of elderly people in those situations die alone. Like,
Yes, they
there's
do.
family that's just like, whatever, or, across the country, or, who knows what reason. And I feel honored that I could be there and make them as comfortable as possible in their last moments.
So, do you not believe in an afterlife?
Part of me doesn't, because it's far-fetched and, there's no evidence really to prove it. But I think part of me has to, because if this is it, if this miserable existence that I'm going through is it, then I want my fucking money back.
I want my money back. That's hilarious. I believe there's an afterlife.
Do you?
I believe there's totally purpose for everything.
What's the afterlife then?
I couldn't tell you exactly what I believe in, but I definitely have like theories. I believe that we are put here for a reason. Like, it just like I was talking on my first podcast. I was talking to this guy and he brought up a really good argument that's like, the concept of us just being meat sacks on a rock in space is way more far-fetched than this actually being something.
Then answer me this. What about cows? Do you eat beef?
I do eat beef.
So are cows more than just meat sacks?
Cows are not more than meat sacks. It means that I am a horrible person, not a horrible person, but I choose to take the life of that cow.
See, how do you know that the cows aren't supposed to be the dominant species?
Because they're not as smart as us.
Do you know that?
That's a fair point. Elaborate. Keep going.
No, I just don't think that. I think humans are incredibly egocentric, as
Totally.
and we think that the earth should bow down to us, and I don't. I think it's the other way around, because if you look at the parts of the earth that are breaking down, guess what? All man-made. Like, we're the people just deforesting places.
That's so
we're the
true.
people killing off animals to the point of extinction. So why would the race that's destroying the earth be the dominant race? Or is that just all in our heads?
Well, I don't know if you've ever tried meditation. Have you ever tried meditation?
Yeah, my anxiety's too loud for it.
Too loud for it. That's so funny, because for me, it definitely helps out with my anxiety.
Really?
It totally calms me down.
How do you
breathing.
quiet your mind?
Well, I heard this person, and obviously we all have different hands, so I'm sure, your situation's a lot worse than mine,
Thanks.
but it's a battle. It's a constant battle between positivity and negativity, and it's the old saying of whatever wolf you feed, that's what wolf you're going to become. If you feed into the negative wolf, I'm a loser, I'm going to be nothing, life sucks, I'm depressed, then that's what you're going to be. But if you feed into the positivity wolf of I'm great, I'm beautiful, I'm going to succeed, blah, 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 that's what wolf you're going to become. It's always a boxing match between those two wolves until you die,
That seems like a pretty realistic metaphor.
Yeah, I didn't come up with it.
No. But I mean, very well said. Yeah.
But that's what that's how I deal with my kind of situations. You can't help negativity come into you out of nowhere, right? Which is another topic on its own, intuition and what are thoughts, But you can't stop from that negativity, that anxiety coming in, but you can fight it. It's with positivity. The guy used like Rocky as like example, right? Like if
he lose?
I don't know. I haven't seen Rocky.
I'm pretty sure he lost.
Just like a boxing match in general, right? Where you're just fighting, right? So you either, like, negativity throws you a jab, you give it a positivity right hook,
Right.
Like that kind of mindset, right? So you just like
fight back
you drown out the
Mm-hmm.
voice of negativity with positivity.
God, I wish my life was that simple.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like I'm not as fucked up as you are,
Yeah, I've had a few rough rounds in the ring, to use your Rocky analogy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Elaborate. What are some of those?
Well, I've been to jail a couple times.
Ooh, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
So I was homeless, living in my car, and I parked it in town, and I had been drinking, and then I went to like pick up some food, and to eat in my car, and like it literally looked like somebody lived in there. The back seat was down, there was blankets, pillows, a TV, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And yeah, knock, 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 like unfriendly stuff. And then once I tossed a picture to my husband because I was trying to leave him, and he's like, "What are you doing?" Because he just woke up, and I was like, "I'm taking these pictures because I want them." He's like, "What pictures?" So I tossed one to him, but they were cheap ass Walmart picture frames, and so he got a cut, like literally
wow.
like 3 centimeters, and like he had been drinking. So by the time the cops got there, he was trying to recant. And there's like, "Oh well, it's no longer up to you. It's like the state of Idaho versus Courtney." And I was like, "What? Are you serious?"
So, or talk about the inside the jail. What's being inside jail like?
Well, it depends on which time I was there, because because I told you like about the whole grandfather thing, so I ended up in juvie. That was the first time I was incarcerated, and it was fine. It was like being in a daycare full of little asshole kids. But adult jail, it really is 3 hot in a cot, and it's impossible to sleep in that bitch. The lights never turn off, and yeah, it's like the girls do this one thing in like all the pods I've ever been in. They will pace back and forth as a form of exercise or release, because most of them are heroin addicts or whatever, and so they'll just pace back and forth in flip-flops on concrete. Imagine that. That is not fun.
Right.
And then like I just ended up starving every time I was there because I'm not gonna eat that.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah. And then one time I accidentally made the mistake of like saying like, if you're gonna arrest me, just kill me. So then there's like, well, now you're on suicide watch. So I just laid in a cell like freaking naked, because they put like this safety vest on you so you can't hurt yourself, and they didn't have authorization to give me my meds, so I was coming off of like 20 different meds, and just laying there naked, sweating, like with the lights on.
I can imagine that being very unpleasant.
Oh God, it was
anxiety must have been all off the chain.
It was the worst.
What do you think thoughts are? Isn't that such a entendre of a question?
Right. I think thoughts are the manifestation of feelings.
Manifestation of feelings.
Or the creation of something. I don't know. I can't like single out one thing that I think thoughts are. I think they can be a lot of things.
Right, isn't that so funny? Think thoughts are thoughts of thinking.
I think, therefore I am.
Yeah. What do you think anxiety is? Why do we have anxiety?
It's probably just like a chemical imbalance, if I'm quite honest with myself. Unless you have like some sort of like PTSD or something, then, that's different. But generalized anxiety, I have to believe it's just brain chemistry. Because if there are meds that they can give you, like Xanax, I take Xanax, and my anxiety goes away. So, I mean, it has to be chemical if we can conquer it with other chemicals.
That's true. What would you say to somebody that is dealing with the stuff you've dealt with in your life? What would you say to keep them going?
You are not nothing, and someone somewhere will or does love you, and this isn't the end.
It's very powerful. I like it. What do you think déjà vu is?
I think déjà vu, well, because when you have like a thought, like your brain, like, unless you have some sort of like rare genius, you don't remember everything that's ever happened in your life, right? So I feel like déjà vu is your mind like having an inkling of a memory, and then there's something else and it clicks together, and it like your brain is just like, oh, it's the same thing, because you can only retain so much.
You're very practical. You're not very maybe you are, but just like the way you've answered questions, you're not very open to curious thoughts, or curiosity, or thinking like outside of the box. And that's not an insult. I'm just saying.
I don't know. If somebody shows you some proof,
You're just very very logical. Very logical. Yeah. I like it.
I have to be, because if I let my mind go, it goes to bad places. So if I just believe what is in front of me, like, and 2 and 2 is 4, if I just believe like those sorts of concepts, then I'm safe from my own spiraling thoughts. So I have to remain.
What are, if I can ask, because I know that it can trigger, but what are some spiraling thoughts you have?
I have body dysmorphic disorder, so I constantly think that I'm fat. And recently I thought that my meds were making me fat, and like at one point, like I was convinced that like certain foods, if I ate them, like I would eat out of control. So a lot of them are like eating disorder related, but also some other bad thoughts are just like, when you're driving down the street and you're just like, oh look, a cliff. What if I just turned right? But it's just a passing thought. But it just that I'm worthless, that there's no point in my existence, that, but these aren't suicidal thoughts necessarily. They're just, I feel so low of self-esteem constantly that it's just always forever in the back of my mind saying horrible things to me.
Have you ever felt good self-esteem, a lot of self-esteem at some point?
No.
No? How come?
Well, growing up, being called a nigger all the time didn't exactly help.
That would put a damper on things.
Yeah. It wasn't like the coolest. So, I mean, it just kind of started off early in life thinking that I'm less than. And everything, puberty, everyone kind of feels like awkward or, whatever, like, a little bit, when you're growing up. And that was just compounded upon the racial, like, hatred that I got. And so I just thought, like, I was an inherently bad person. So, yeah, it just
especially
all came
with
from
your mom, too.
Yeah.
That would definitely make you feel that way.
Yeah.
What's the happiest you've ever been? What moment has made you the happiest?
Oh, I remember. That guy that I left school for, he said to me once, we were just driving somewhere. It was winter, and I was only like 16 or whatever. But he's just like, you are my sunshine. And I started laughing. I was like, that's the corniest shit I've ever heard. And then I looked over, and I saw that he was crushed. And he's like, oh. And I was like, wait, do you mean that? And he said, yeah. So I have sunshine tattooed right there.
That's cute. I like that. Where is he now? How come you broke up?
We broke up because I cheated on him, because I knew he wanted to break up with me, and I knew he wouldn't do it because he was kind of like my current boyfriend. Like, he really took on a caretaker role, like, and so I knew, and he was such a nice guy that I knew he wouldn't leave me, but I knew he wanted to leave. And I asked him after, I had told him, I was just like, so what would have happened if I didn't do that? And he's like, I would have stayed with you and been unhappy. So,
Where is he now? What does he do?
He's like a journeyman?
A journeyman.
Or whatever. Like, I think he lives somewhere south of here. I'm not sure where, but like, every once in a while I'll shoot a message, hey, how's it going? And, we're chill. It's not like there was any hard, like, I don't think any of my boyfriends have a problem talking to me. Like, I've never been in a relationship where there was like such a volatile breakup that we can no longer speak. I've never had that.
So obviously you're a vegetarian.
Pescatarian.
Pescatarian. So
Which I usually tell people I'm a vegetarian because half the world, at least, doesn't know what a pescatarian is.
Uh-huh.
And then people think I'm just being pretentious.
So explain that for the world and how come you're a pescatarian.
Okay. Well, it's easy enough to explain. It was believed that my father was a pescatarian before he died. So the people that raised me as a pescatarian is some way passing it on, like as if that's how he would want me to be. And I didn't find out until I was in my 20s that actually he wasn't.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, at that point, if you've never had chicken, why have it?
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
especially if you think about, like, you know, ethical reasons or whatever. But a pescatarian is a naughty vegetarian. So it means everything that a vegetarian eats plus fish.
How come fish?
Um,
Guys, I know they don't feel pain, right?
I think they do. How come fish? That's a really good question, but have you ever noticed, like in wording, like it's almost implied in society, like it says meat and fish or meat or, you know, which I know technically they're meat, but I mean, have you ever had like a really nice ahi tuna steak cooked rare with a little bit of soy sauce and wasabi?
Want me to break your heart? I hate seafood.
Oh, shut up.
I hate it. I can't stand it.
Oh my God. None of it?
None of it.
Shrimp?
Mm-mm. I can't stand any of it.
Oh, dear. Oh, whew. Yikes.
Sorry, dog.
See, and I'm the depressed one? Obviously, there's something wrong with you.
That's so funny. So, I gotta ask you this. You're like, you say that, but you're so joyful. How come?
Oh, just because I'm depressed and anxious doesn't mean I can't be pleasant.
I like that. I like that.
I don't like, and I've always kind of overcompensated with niceness because my self-esteem's so low that I don't want to give people more reasons to fucking hate me.
I feel like you're lying to yourself, if you want me to be honest.
Really?
Because if you had such low self-esteem, you would not want to come on here and talk and be so open.
Well, I have nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
Because,
so then how come
yeah.
then how would you have low then how come you have low self-esteem then if you have nothing to lose?
Because I don't think I have anything of worth. But yeah, you can ask me any question and I'll totally answer it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you like dogs?
Not particularly.
Why not?
They're fidgety and they make me anxious, and any dog, like when I was at like my low weight, like any dog that was big enough to like, you know, defeat me, like one that I couldn't like punt kick across the yard, like I was scared to be around them, that they would hurt me. So yeah, like that was actually weird anecdote. The one time before I was 16 that I almost missed school, so we had this like driveway that was like a quarter mile long, and I was late for the bus. And so I was running down this driveway and I had to cut across the neighbor's yard, and like the dogs like were chasing me, and I fell down on a rock, and like I should have gotten stitches, but I just like cried, hobbled home and said, I'm late for school. Yeah.
Were you late to school that day?
I was late, but a tardy's not an absence.
A tardy is not an absence. That's true. That's true. So how come you've given up writing?
Well, for a while, it was like I had said, like it was like mechanically I could not. Like I couldn't hardly sign my name, and it looks like chicken scratch even when I can. But I got so deep into depression that I felt like I had nothing to say. I just had given up. I had nothing left to say. Like, yeah.
I would say you have a lot to say now. At least to like share your, not even to like give advice, not even to be like,
oh
hey,
yeah, don't take my advice.
Yeah, like not even to be like, hey guys, we'll pull it together. Just to like share your story, you know, or just share what you've dealt with, you know.
The only way I really remember things these days is I get tattoos.
Tattoos. Explain,
Like,
what's some tattoos you got?
The first one I got was an ellipsis, which
Okay.
means that there's like, you know, more there or more like something unsaid, or, you know, Like when you read something ...
Yeah.
But yeah. And that one, sunshine. One on my foot says pretend it's love. And I remember I got that when I was like 16, but I never knew what it meant until I was like 5 years deep in my marriage. Because it was after a poem I had written or whatever. So, yeah.
Pretend it's love.
Yeah. It was something like, when there are no words left to say, nor tears to cry, when there's nothing to be gained by losing or letting go, when we are all each other has, and you don't know what you want, just pretend it's love.
You wrote that?
Mm-hmm.
You're breaking my heart, Courtney.
I know, I'm a little... I see, maybe my depression's contagious.
No, you got skills, dog, but you don't apply them. You have to.
I can't.
Well, you don't have to, and you don't got
like,
to.
I can't even get out of bed. That's the reason I was late, because I couldn't even get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's pretty lame. Like, when we, because he works at the same nursing home that I do, and when we go to work in the morning, I'm asleep. Like, he makes a bed in the back of the car, and I just lay down and just go to sleep, and he just, like, wakes me up and it's like, time to work. And I'm like, I just don't have any energy.
Are you a workaholic because of depression?
No, I'm a workaholic because my husband is not going to support me forever. And yeah, because a lot of times with him, I could stop working for long stretches of time and he made enough money to compensate. But right now, Shane is in between, like, good opportunities, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we're not bringing in enough income. So I need a
support.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Where would you like to be, and where do you see yourself?
I see myself looking 10 years younger than I do now. I honestly am not somebody that like anymore. I used to have like dreams and ambitions, but anymore I don't really think about the future. I just think of like the next step. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's like as far as I can envision, because I have so many negative thoughts about where my life and my life choices could lead me that it's really difficult sometimes for me to think about them, because it's scary. It's frightening being on your own.
It is frightening to be on your own. Totally. I totally agree with you. How come you give up on dreams and ambitions?
I think it all just like leads back to self-esteem. Like, I'm just not good enough. Mm-hmm. And when I left school, like, I mean, I was going to graduate with honors in every single subject. And when I still have dreams about freaking school, and I'm 30. But
it's never too late. Don't say that.
But I mean, I got my GED like a week after I dropped out. But I'm just so disappointed in myself, and I can't believe I let that happen. Yeah. You
can still change it. I know that's such like cookie cutter bullshit, but it's true. It is true,
I think most people in my situation probably would have a chance at changing it, but I've lived with Courtney for 30 years, and I don't think she can cut the mustard.
Cut the mustard. Well, I can understand that. I can understand that. Why do you think life's unfair? Why do you think that, like, for example, why life's unfair is we get dealt cards, right? You mm-hmm. have a kid that gets brain cancer at 7 years old versus a Nazi who did Nazi things and then escaped to South America and lived in paradise until he died. Why is life like that?
Why shouldn't it be?
Explain.
The world is, it's not like, because since I mean, you've probably garnered by now that I do not believe in God. Mm-hmm. The world wasn't like it does not conform to your likes and dislikes. Like, the world is, I think it was something in like The Fault in Our Stars. They said something about like the world is not a wish giving or whatever. And it's true. Like, it's not like just because you think something should be one way that nature and the world are going to conform to your ideals. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, if life was fair, from Courtney's perspective, it'd be totally different from your perspective. So what is fair?
That's a really good perspective. I really like that. That is true because it is like you have so many different egos in different walks of life. If you were to
Cater to everyone.
cater to everyone,
You couldn't.
you couldn't. It'd be impossible.
Like,
That's
this is
true.
probably somebody's paradise. There's probably a few people out there that is like, the world is perfect. Magnifique.
That's
Like,
true.
they're probably assholes, but...
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a test of our soul. Do you believe in the soul?
I do actually believe in the
So
soul.
to make fun of you, you believe in the soul, but you don't believe in the afterlife?
Yeah, it goes with you.
It goes with you.
Yeah,
Where
it-
to?
Well, energy cannot be created or destroyed, and once your body is decomposing, I don't know, you turn into like a freaking tree or whatever.
Tree, so reincarnation?
Not reincarnation, just your body's natural decaying process.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure some like maggots and seeds will fall on you, and I mean, maybe it'll be a tree, maybe it'll be a bush, maybe it will just be some bear's snack. I don't know.
Bear snack. I like it.
Maybe some of those cows that you like so much,
Yes,
come back to who's the hamburger now?
Who's the hamburger now? That's true. Do you think I don't even know what I'm trying how I want to say this. Do you think that's karma? Then?
No, it's
No?
just nature being nature.
Nature?
Yeah, it is what it is. Like, why would you expect like an animal to see any sort of morality in what they're doing? They're acting on their instinct. They're acting, the way that they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like there's like, oh no, that's Joe. He was a really great guy. I'm not gonna eat him. Like, no, they're not doing that. That's why your cats, like, it sounds like a urban legend, but no, seriously, if you die in your house and nobody finds you, your cats will fucking eat you.
That's true. That's true.
Well, they're kind of jerks anyway.
Cats are jerks, but not dogs. Dogs won't eat you.
No, they'll protect your body and starve to death instead.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thought. The differences between like how a dog views you and how a cat sees you. What would you say about that?
Well, they're not the same thing.
So what
like,
do you?
I mean, would you pet a coyote
I love animals.
or a golden
I know
retriever?
that's such a stupid thing to say. Since
You
I
you
eat
have a choice:
cows.
golden retriever or coyote. You have to pet one.
I guess I'd pet the golden retriever. That's true.
Well, they're similar, but not the same thing.
That's true. Fair enough. Fair enough. So what do you think the soul is then? I know we've dabbled in this a lot technically with energy, but
Mhm.
kind of just elaborate more on what soul. What's the purpose of the soul?
Well, I can't be sure, but we were just talking about animals, and I think it has a lot to do with your temperament and just the way you're wired. Like, you can have twins, like, let's say, and one of them's evil. Like, I mean,
True.
like, so everyone is just like, and they have the same life experience, respectively. One would say, they probably, if they grew up together, they have the same life experience, but one of them's a little jerk. It's just who you are. It's the essence of your being.
It's your ego.
Yeah, you're born with it, but it continues to shape and morph throughout your entire life. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So, with you saying that, do you think you'll ever change?
Yeah, I'll get worse.
You'll get worse?
Yeah.
With that mindset, you will, for sure.
Right? You saying, yeah, I remember, yeah. You're probably right. I
Why
need to feed the positive
The
wolf.
positive wolf. It's true. Why do you think you'll get worse?
Because every time that I've had like a manic depressive episode, it's gotten worse progressively over the years. So logic would dictate that the next one's going to be worse.
That's fair. I can't argue with that. Why do you think you're wired in that way?
I don't know, probably because my mom did a lot of cocaine while I was in vitro. I don't know. Like, Yeah, I didn't find out until just recently, but that's the real reason my dad died, because he was being pulled over and he swallowed a huge baggie of cocaine
Oh my
and it
god.
exploded in his stomach.
And so obviously he overdosed.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That would be
I thought he was shot. Like all
Uh-huh.
these years, I had thought that he was shot and killed, some gang thing. But no. So, I mean, that's probably why. Like, I've never admitted this before, but I guess being sent away and that rejection is considered early life trauma.
totally.
And like, I've always denied that. I'm like, I don't have trauma issues. You do. Like, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll admit that.
Well, it is. It is the first years of our lives. I think it's like the first 7 years are so important and so impactful, right. And that's what's going to shape you as a person. Obviously, high school has a huge part too, but those first
Foundation,
7 years are just so crucial. And so, like when people let their kids play Call of Duty or let them watch like porn or whatever, it's like that's gonna fuck up your kid for life.
Who's letting 7-year-olds watch porn?
If your dad falls asleep watching porn on his computer, or
then it's not very good porn. What
that's true, asleep? Right? That's so funny. Just stuff like that,
right? Yeah,
totally.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've met and I'm not saying this in a negative way, but a lot of my living with my so-called grandparents, it was kind of do whatever you want, like just, like it. They're like that, and like the whole fight was about structure, and so I didn't have like that much structure, and I'm not saying that it's their fault or anything, but I think that not having that structure kind of left me lost. Like as an adolescent, it's very hard to make the right decisions for yourself.
That's true. What drugs have you done? What do you believe in? Like, what is your opinion
what
on
drugs have I not done? No. My opinion on drugs is that they really contribute to a lot of misery.
It's very true.
But I, without implicating myself, let's just say enough.
Smart.
But
very smart.
currently, absolutely nothing.
Nothing? Besides meds, you're completely sober?
Yeah.
For how long?
As long as it takes.
No. That's funny. I meant like, when's the last time you've done anything?
Right before I started probation.
So like a year?
I don't remember. I don't remember that date.
Yeah, fair enough. But that's a good first step though, in improving yourself is.
But I wasn't using drugs.
Uh-huh.
It was just I used drinks to replace food.
Alcohol is totally a drug, I would say.
It is, but so's coffee.
Yeah, but you don't see people like to argue, right? You don't see, yeah, man, ever since I started drinking coffee, my life's just gone down the shitter.
Okay. My boyfriend here, he was a caffeine addict. Like, he actually had to wean himself off of caffeine.
Huh.
Like, so, I mean, it wasn't coffee, it was energy drinks, but yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, alcohol just leads to so much, like, killing people.
Sugar's addictive, and obesity is rising everywhere.
But that's fair. That's actually a fair assessment.
Yeah.
The argument I'm making, though, is just alcohol itself leads to such worse things than coffee and sugar does. Sugar is a good argument, though. Sugar does lead to a lot of depression and self-loathing, but alcohol itself is, for me, I don't drink alcohol. I haven't in, like, a couple months, right? So I'm not, like...
You're not a teetotaler?
I'm on my high horse, and I'm sure at some point I'll drink alcohol again.
Right.
But just seeing so many people in my life get affected by it, including you now, it's such a horrible thing, but then you can't go smoke weed. Granted, weed is not a good thing either. What I'm saying is these things are not bad in moderation.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do it in moderation, but once you start abusing, that's when it becomes a problem. And the reason why people abuse is because they're trying to find themselves in these substances, right? You're trying to find, like,
I think they're trying to lose themselves.
They're just trying to not face the bullet, not trying to face the demons inside of them. So either numbing the pain or with weed, forgetting about it.
Mm-hmm.
You're pushing off the inevitable demon you have to face, and I think that's why a lot of people drink themselves to death, or I guess weed doesn't kill you, but
yeah, it makes you pretty not really helpful to society.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't. And I think that's because, or I just think at a certain point, you've pushed it off for so long, you get faced with it all at once. That's why a lot of people just kind of
zone out, just
die.
I'm not going to deal with it. Yeah. Like, I want to make this clear. In no way am I supporting like drugs or alcohol or anything. That's another one. It's weird that they don't call it also a drug. It's drugs or alcohol.
That's true, right?
Like, I think they're trying to like make it sound better, but I in no way like support that. And like, I've seen like the sort of destruction it causes. Like the first dead body, the first person I ever watched die and had to clean up their body and do postmortem care. He was as yellow can be with jaundice because he was an alcoholic, and it was startling to see. But I bet you, like, he was laying in bed like all week and dying. But I bet you if you held a bottle of whiskey in front of him, he'd all of a sudden find the strength to sit up. Like, it is powerful. It's like when you're using any substance, you kind of form a relationship with it, dependent. Like that's the reason why they call it dependence. Like because you've heard of of codependent, and it is like a relationship. Like it's another person in your life. Like it's an entity rather.
No, that's totally true.
And you don't realize that it's that way until it's too late.
Totally true. Go on more if you want.
Ugh, no, I'm just rambling at this point.
So what is the process of dealing with a dead body? What do you do?
So first thing you want to do is you want to try to close the eyes, because once the body like has been there a while, it will be impossible to close the eyes. Usually at the mortuary, they have to use some sort of glue or whatever, and then they like take out the eyes and like put in like false little lenses to like make them look human, like if there's going to be like a open casket sort of thing. And like in my profession, like I don't clean them up like the mortuary does. I clean them up to the point where if there's family bedside or whatever, like it's a final act of dignity. So you give them like a sponge bath, and if possible, you put them in fresh clothing, and you just try to make them as presentable as they can be in their current state. It's just a matter of respect, really, at that point.
How do you think being around so much dead people has affected you in any way?
It's like, because I mean, when somebody, like, if it was like if it was a 5-year-old saying dying in front of me, like, I think it would affect me way different when it's, Mabel, who's 99, like, yeah. I mean, she lived a good life, like, I know that's cliche, but
we all got to go at some point.
I find it such a privilege to, like, take care of the elderly, and even if, their time's a little short, like, at least I can make it as, like, tolerable and as happy and as joyful as, like I can. Like, I mean, it's my honor.
Yeah, what's some of the stuff you do to comfort them?
So one thing, since I work with a lot of Alzheimer's and traumatic brain injury patients, is just being there, like validating their feelings. Like if they're scared or, whatever, like don't dismiss it just because it's not something that you see. Like, sometimes they'll have hallucinations or whatever, but, validating their feelings, just walking with them, like, if they're scared or something, like just sitting with them, like anything, just like keeping them company for a little bit. Like sometimes I'll, after, giving somebody their meds, I'll, sit with them for a little bit and just chit chat because, it's lonely.
Yeah, what do you think, why do we get Alzheimer's and dementia? For me, who's someone that's very spiritual, I think there's a separation between the brain and the soul, right? Like the soul controls the brain. The brain doesn't control the soul, right? Because with meditation, you can step out of the ego. Like you can recognize, you said it earlier, right? You've lived with Courtney, right? You just subconsciously say that. You're not Courtney, you're this, whatever this is, with living inside of Courtney from her perspective. So how come from that perspective, or whatever perspective you want to go with, what happens when you have Alzheimer's? What do you think we feel consciously when you're going through dementia and Alzheimer's?
Well, medically, it is just a deterioration of brain tissue, and so your brain has holes in it, and so you start to lose things. Like the first thing you might lose usually is your inhibitions, and like you don't have that like filter. So like if you're thinking something like, oh, I hate that dog, like you'll just say it. Like you don't have like the conscious filter. Like if from my experience, like I'm not talking like, Grey's Anatomy textbook here, but I think what's happening is just, everything has its time, and everything at some point will decay, and sometimes our bodies last longer than our brains. And not to say that they're not smart or intelligent or don't have capabilities, but their brain is shutting down.
Yeah, it's a part of the body for sure.
That's not very spiritual, is it?
That's not. It's very medically, but it's true. Mind, body, and soul. What would you say it spiritually is?
Spiritually, what dementias?
Yeah.
Because the last call at the bar.
The last call at the bar. I love. You have to be a writer, Courtney. You got to start writing. You're so funny. I love it. You got a good mind. Good mind for it. Feed the positive wolf.
Well, with my body issues, I'm not gonna feed anyone.
See, like that right there.
Maybe I can shove my food under the table and give it to the dog.
See, just like that right there is perfect, Courtney. Let's go back to you're letting in homeless people. What's some stories? I'm sure you have some weird shit happen.
Yeah. Oh God, there was this one guy once. He had escaped from prison, and I thought he was just like trying to act cool. But I looked him up on the internet, and it actually said this Arizona prison, so and so escaped, and I was doing a sleep study because one of the doctors thought maybe I had sleep apnea, and so my husband was working overnights at the time, and the homeless guy and I were like hanging out or whatever. We had gone out to the bar and whatnot and came home, and I was just sleeping, had my sleep study apparatus on where it like measures your your heartbeat and stuff, and my husband comes in the room and yells, "What the fuck is going on, Courtney?" And I'm just like, wait, what? So like on my sleep study, it has like this like big pressure because the guy was out there nude.
Whoa.
I was in the bedroom just sleeping. And dude was out there he was out there. Like, yeah.
Was he just standing outside in the nude, or was he like jerking off in your yard?
I think no, in the living room.
Oh.
Like, I'm pretty sure he was like probably jerking off to my sleeping body or something. Like, it was weird.
That's whack, dude.
But yeah, that's life, huh?
That's life. Here's a quote you'll like.
All right.
Life's a bitch, then you die.
That's accurate.
Very accurate.
Very apropos.
You got any more homeless people stories? How many people have you let in live with you? Shit. Countless? Can't even.
Yeah, I would guess maybe 20. I don't know, man. Like there was one homeless person that he would not come and live with us, like because he was just. He just didn't want to be that guy. Yeah. Like, and So I knew where he would usually sleep, and I used to like tuck money in where he would like keep his stuff or whatever, and he would take that. But if you just tried to hand him money, he's not taking it. Like, he'll work for it, but he won't take it.
Why do you think, this is such a broad question, but why do you think people become homeless and choose to be homeless?
Well, I think that some people become homeless because it's ridiculously expensive to have a house.
Very.
Like, I mean, if you're a single person, say you maybe have some kids or whatever, the chances of you being able to make a mortgage, good the fuck luck. Like, you can't. Like, it's just, there's just no way. And other people, like, I mean, it could be mental illness or drugs. I mean, there's so many reasons why people find themselves displaced or homeless. Like, I mean, like I said, I was homeless. Like, you would not expect that from somebody who grew up on a golf course. Like, I mean, that's not really, like, homeless material. But it was just, I did not have that first and last month in deposit. And I was single. So, yeah, just ended up between places.
What do you value in life?
Love.
Love.
Yeah.
How come?
Because it's one of the few things that when I receive it, I am actually capable of feeling good.
Feeling good.
Yeah. It's like one of those things, like when somebody does something for you out of love, no matter how small or trivial it might seem, like just that feeling of, like, it's like a hug. It's like a soul hug.
A soul hug, yeah.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's cool. I love love.
Never give up on love, right?
Oh.
Because, I say that because you've had so much heartbreak, you know? You've had so much people that...
I don't want to seem like a sob story.
You're not
no.
like,
no. I mean,
I didn't mean it like that.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
like, your mom leaving, that's a heartbreak, right? Your husband and you not working out, that's a heartbreak. Not in the sense of,
right.
Ooh, pity Courtney. Not at all. That's not what I meant. I just mean, like,
yeah.
Love has come and gone so much, quote unquote, heartbreak. How do you still value it?
Well, actually, to be quite frank, for me, I have to ask questions sometimes, like, is this love I'm feeling? Like, I don't, because it wasn't part of, like, my early development, like you were talking about. Like, so I don't have those building bricks to really compare and contrast anything to. So I don't really know what love is. And I think that's why I fall in love so quickly with people. Like, I've never, like, my husband and I, we met in, like, January and got married that December. Like, I mean, it's just, I guess anyone that cares for me, like, I project that as being love. Like, even if it's just, like, a friendly acquaintance or whatever. And because I've even had a guy tell me once, he was, like, saying he didn't really want to hang out anymore. And I was just all like, but I love you. And he's just like, you hardly know me. So, yeah, I'm still trying to search for love, like, desperately. Like, because everybody wants that warm, fuzzy feeling.
Do you think you'll ever find it? Do you think you'll ever love yourself?
No.
No?
No.
Why?
Because there's so... Like, and I'm not fishing for any sort of compliment, so don't even respond with a compliment. But there's just so much bad and ugly and evil about me that maybe that's why I have a hard time finding love externally, because I still don't think I deserve it. I don't think that it's possible. Like, the only way I think that other people can love me is if I somehow, like, hide parts of me. Like, I don't think that it's something that I can do.
What do you hate the most about yourself?
All right, not my acne, but that's hormonal. But that I'm 5'8", not 5'9"? No, but no, in all honesty, I would have to say my hair, because I have, afro hair.
You have black hair.
Yeah,
totally.
Black hair. And nobody up here, once I broke both my wrists because some mentally ill guy in a golf cart, is a weird story, but I fell backwards on gravel and snapped both my wrists, and so I had a cast on one of them, and so I went to a hairdresser to try to get my hair done because I couldn't do it. And halfway through shampooing my hair, she's just like, "So I'm not going to charge you because I don't know what I'm doing." I was like, "Really?" Yeah, it's so hard to find anyone up here that can deal with it. And to deal with it on my own is, it's a chore. Yeah. So that might be one of the things I hate most about me, but...
that was the face. That's not the real answer.
The real answer, if you must know, is that, and I know it's not true, I know it's the body dysmorphic order talking, but that I feel fat.
Uh-huh.
I think that's what I hate most about myself. Every inch there is to pinch. I fucking hate it.
Wait, look, we gotta go back though. The golf cart and the homeless guy.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck is that about?
Okay, so I told you I grew up by the golf course.
Yeah.
And okay, so I was it was 15 because 15 because I had my Subaru Loyale, and I was having a bad day at school, and there's this road that overlooks the golf course, it's pretty high up, and I was just blaring my music and just having a bad day, so I drove up this road, and this golf cart was coming down the road, and I almost hit it, so I pulled over, and then I started driving again, and I look in my rear view, and there the fuck is the golf cart, in pursuit, getting super close. So I pull over so he can pass me, and he runs into the back of my car. And then I get out, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he didn't say anything. He had a beard and a hat on, and he started coming towards me. Mm-hmm. And I was just he didn't say anything, and I was just what the fuck, backing away, and it was gravel, so my shoes slipped, and I put out my wrist to try to catch myself like an idiot, and snap both my wrists, and he was leaning over me, and I freaking punched/pushed him, and got back in my car and drove home.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Life, huh?
Yeah, right. Were you what happened? Were your wrists okay? Did you go to the hospital?
Well, I went to technically, I guess you could call it a hospital or a chop shop, but they were both hurting just as much, pretty much, but one hurt slightly more, and they were, asking me questions, and I was like, there's which one hurts the most? And I was like, well, the right one, but the left one hurts really bad too. So there's well, let's deal with that one, and they took x-rays, and there's oh yeah, that sure is broken, and I was like, well, what about the other one? And there's well, let's deal with this, and they cast it up and sent me home, and then I went in for a checkup on the cast, and I was the other one still fucking hurts, and there's oh yeah, I guess you did break that one, but it's too late to do anything about it. Yeah. So now to this day, I'll still get pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun.
Since you're body dysmorphic, right? What's your favorite food?
My favorite food? Fish.
Fish. You looked at me like that. Yeah. You're so funny.
But now, I don't know. It's actually a misconception that people with eating disorder issues don't like food. Actually, people with eating disorders are obsessed with food.
Yeah.
And I used to cook all the time when I lived with my husband. I would cook 3 meals a day from scratch, making my own stock and sweating down onions for 3 hours and shit. I love food. I really do. But I just don't love the idea that it could be somehow making me fat.
Yeah, I can understand that kind of disease, quotes.
Yeah.
I can understand where you'd come from that. So I feel you, if that makes sense.
But luckily, at the pizza place, I just make salads.
Yeah.
So, that's safe.
You ever had their the cheesy bread with the meat sauce?
Well, obviously not the meat sauce, but yeah, the cheesy bread. Yeah.
Well, they have the vegetarian sauce too. I love
I've
that
had
shit.
it.
That was
I used to eat it a lot when I was younger and working there because, yeah, it's just easy. And I mean, seriously, $5 for something the size of a pizza?
Right, dude.
That's almost suspicious.
That's suspicious. What's your favorite movie in music? I guess movie or whatever you want to say.
Okay, so I can never pick a favorite, but the Lord of the Rings trilogy is up there. The movie Closer is up there. The Life Aquatic, I love. Yeah, like I used to be quite the movie buff. Mm-hmm. Like every year that the Oscars, I would make sure to watch every single movie that was nominated for, like Best Picture or whatever, or like Best Acting. Like, and I would just, I love movies. Music, anything but country and death metal. Everything else is fine with me. Uh-huh. I dated a guy once who was in a death metal band, and with my anxiety, let's not put Courtney in a garage during band practice of a death metal band.
Right, that's so funny.
Like, it was horrible. Like, I ended up like in the fetal position on the couch in there, just like crying. Oh God.
Was he hot though? Was it worth it?
He was a little short. Like, I mean, he was about my height, but I mean, he was kind of scrawny, and he had like the long Jesus hair. But I mean, I guess overall, like, I obviously didn't kick him out of bed.
Okay. Have you seen Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, definitely.
I love that movie. It's my favorite movie.
Oh, really?
Sure. I know it's so basic.
No.
But my favorite movies are Pulp Fiction, Back to the Future movies.
I didn't see those until they were at the Canada on the day that they went to.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. That was the first time I'd ever seen them.
What'd you think of them?
It was a little sauce, so I don't really remember.
You're a little sauced up.
Yeah, okay. All I remembered was that he tried to have sex with his mom.
Well, you should rewatch them because they're really good. They're 80s though, they're just a little cheesy.
Oh my gosh, there's a guy in town that looks like the guy from Say Anything, like holding the boombox above his head.
Uh-huh.
Like, and I always call him Cusack. I actually don't know his real name.
Is there any interesting characters around town that I should interview?
Okay.
Or stories you got about them?
Well, this guy, don't interview him. But okay, you've heard of the movies Twilight, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the main vampire's name is Edward.
Mm-hmm.
I got bit on the neck by a guy named Edward.
Yo, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, like I was living in this like this really shitty apartment, and he was the maintenance person there, and one of the doors got locked from the inside, and so I came over and being black and all, picked the lock for him, and he like came over to like thank me at my door, and like he wanted a hug, and he's like he's different. Uh-huh. And so like I gave him a hug, and he bit me on the fucking neck.
That's
and then
weird.
I like closed the door and like locked it, and like he was like banging to come in saying like we belong together, and I was like, what the fuck? So weird. I was like 17 and he was like 60.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I like wrote. I think I wrote on Facebook like I just got bit by a guy named Edward, but it's not as sexy as you think. Like,
that's hilarious.
It was bad, but no, there are people in town that you should definitely look up. Uh-huh. Like, I mean, I think the best way to probably find people is hang out at the bar during the daytime.
Yes,
that is the way.
That's totally what I thought of. It was like the weirdest people you'd find
slash the coolest.
Slash the coolest for sure is like Wednesday, 10 a.m.
Right.
Like
yeah.
not 8 a.m. because that could be people getting off work at
right.
night shifts, right?
Yeah.
It has to be like 10 a.m.
The regulars, like they have like their seats all picked out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally.
No, they're always so cool. Or it's like just I don't know. Like I think that anyone is technically worthy of an interview. Like, I mean...
Well, that's what I want. I want to interview everybody. It's like, I'll give you a card if you want to be interviewed too. But
yeah.
The only problem that I have is finding people that actually want to be interviewed. Because a lot of people don't like to open up like how you have today. Like, you opened up a lot. But a lot of
17 years of therapy. Come on.
That's true. This is a post-production add-on. I'm going to include this little bit at the end of Courtney and I's interview, because it's such a great example of how anxiety can control our perception of reality, when in all actuality that perception is so far from the actual truth, but we let it consume us. Thank you for listening. Enjoy. But so the last order of business I have to do.
Is get me to sign a release.
Yeah, you're smart. You're so smart. I
Pretty
didn't.
smart for a dropout.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it at first because I honestly
right. You don't want to make it seem like you're going to do something like strange and then ask me to.
It's just not a good opener.
Right?
It's not a good opener.
Could you sign this non-disclosure agreement?
Basically says, hey, I don't trust you. Will you please sign this? That's totally what it is.
My lawyer's in the corner. Yeah.
That's so funny since we're talking about anxiety, right? And how like you deal with it way more than I do, 100%. But I have my own anxieties too. So before you came here, I was totally anxious. Like, she's gonna think it's so weird that I'm asking her to sign this paper. She's gonna not want to do the interview after hearing this because she thinks I'm like trying to steal her organs or whatever. But like,
you wouldn't want him, son.
Yeah, right. But that's just like proof in the pudding of how anxiety controls us so much.
Right?
When you're
you start
totally
ruminating
chill with
about
it.
things.